Okay, we are sitting to enter our class, and this is for a little quick check-in, so we're not moving, so be comfortable. Any position will do. Sit up high if you like. Now, as we enter into this, I usually recommend eyes closed, but you're welcome to instead just gently look down at the ground. And as you settle into this sitting position, coming into this sense of directing your gaze inwards, get a sense of feeling your body from the inside. Feel your base through your seat, that connection to ground. Noticing whatever seems to be present in your awareness as you start to sense your body. What do you feel in this moment? And where do you feel it? And there's no need to have anything changed or fixed here. This is a moment to gather some awareness about how you are arriving here tonight. Check in and sense your body's tension levels. Maybe there's certain areas that are standing out, or it's just an overall sense. You could even rate that. If 0 was no tension in your body, and 10 is the far extreme. Where are you tonight on that spectrum? Then check in and notice how it feels in your mind, your own mind state. We could get a little quick assessment if you use 0 being a really peaceful, calm mind, and 10 being the extreme of agitation and stress. How is your mind state tonight? And as you reflect on that, notice if there's anything that's predominating in your thoughts. And maybe anything you might need to let go of tonight. With an intention here before we begin of really trying to remain present to ourselves, making this class about restoration and nourishment. And coming together on an inhale, taking that inhale through the nose, filling the lungs, and exhaling out through the mouth. And do another deep, full breath like that. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. Good, and just simply let your head bow forward. Get a little bit more relaxed in your position here. Shoulders feel a little bit heavy. Some of you might like to do that little roll of the head side to side here, just waking up a little bit of movement. Good. Head back to center and a slow lift up. And as you rise up, we might just take in a couple quick shoulder rolls to just get that rolling back. Good, okay. Now we're gonna move into lying right away here in class. So I wanna come down onto the ground and make sure your mat's pretty clear. Find a position where your legs are outstretched and your arms are at your sides. So we'll all meet up here in this position. Do feel free to let your eyes close for this first part. Give it a little bit of space between your feet. You don't want your legs too close together for this one. Make sure it feels like your spine is situated nice and long on the ground and that the back of the neck feels lengthened as well. Maybe that chin's in just slightly. And we're going to get our legs moving in a little gentle rolling action. And what's going to happen is we're going to roll the thighs such that the big toes come in towards one another. And then take it to the opposite so that the feet roll out. But this is coming from the thighs. And we're just getting that really gentle in and out action started. And then we're going to add the breathing to this. So the next time your feet roll in and the big toes come towards touching, that's your inhale. And then you exhale as you roll it out. And you're just going to continue that inhale, toes together, exhale out. But also be mindful here of slowing this down. There's no hurry. Let the breaths be long and smooth. And let the motion of the legs linger through the full length of the breath. Now we're going to add some arm motion to this. So continuing with that inhale and exhale with the leg roll. The next time you take those toes in towards one another, you're going to turn your palms to face up. And on your exhale, as the feet roll out, turn the palms down. So the arms are moving opposite to the legs. And if that got a little bit lost in translation or you get confused, you can just go back to the start, go back to the legs. Again, we're taking our time, we're paying attention to that smooth rolling action and the breathing. And if anybody wants to add a third body part here, we're just carrying on with this. The next time you take a breath in, you would turn your head to the right. And as you exhale, the head would rock over to the left. So we've got the feet moving, the arms and the head. And again, you can let go of any piece here. But see if you can stay with this pattern for a few more rounds. And I'm going to be finishing my last roll here through that breath. Good. And then let that go. Let that relax out of the body. Just take a moment to be paused here. Notice how you feel. And let's bend those knees. Find those feet to the ground. Get a nice solid connection to the earth there. Adjust through your back body. Maybe get a sense that you've got the low back maybe drawing down just a little bit more. We're going to purposely do a little bit of rocking through the low back pelvis right now. So for those of you who know it just by name, it's like a pelvic tilting action. And it's very subtle. I'm just trying to get a little bit of rocking here. The back flattens and rocks down and then arches just slightly. And you can feel the hips shifting. And as you're doing this, it's not designed to be big and a ton of sensation, just a little bit. And then as we let this dissolve out of our body, we're just going to see if we can kind of slow it and then settle into where we feel like that neutral point is between the two, where it feels most rested and most gentle. And then bring your attention to your feet, and let's just do some rocking through the feet. Essentially, we're going to lift up the foot, keeping the heel down, and then rock through and lift the heel. So this is really easy, really light. Just let those feet and ankles move a little bit. Good, and then from there, after your last one, we let the feet land flat and just really relax the feet, sense the ground. And then bring your attention up to your neck. We're going to do a little bit of rocking there too. So you can make this as subtle and slight as you like, but the chin is purposely drawing down like a chin tuck. The back of the neck flattens, and then you would lift up, looking up and back a bit. And you can do this just in your own pacing. And just see how it feels to move through the head in this way, maybe if there's any tension there. Good, and then let's land with the chin drawing in and down and holding that position. Take your arms up and do a little hug across the chest here. So just simply drawing those arms across tightly, walking those fingertips back to the backs of the shoulders. And then as we free our arms from that cross position, take them out to the sides in that cactus arm position. So that's where the elbows are bent. If this bothers the shoulder, just go with outstretched arms to the sides. Maybe draw those shoulder blades in a little bit. Start to walk the feet out to the edges of your mat, nice and far tonight. Nice wide stance here. And we're going to get those windshield wipers happening. So let's get that little bit of rocking going now, or swaying of those legs over left and right. Sometimes with the windshield wipers, it's interesting to keep, as I said, the feet really wide, like almost off the mat. And as you rotate that one leg, it's like an internal rotation. You can see how far you can drop that knee down to the center without the hip lifting. Gives it a slightly different feel. It's less rocking, more of an intentional rotation in and down. Gonna try that maybe one more each way. There, and then as we finish up, bring those feet back in. And let's pick up that left knee and draw it in towards the chest. Once you're here, let's lift the head up and bring that forehead towards the knee. Just give it a little tucked in position for a little pause. Good, and as we settle the upper body back down, we release that leg and stretch it out, but then also take both arms overhead into a reach. So in this moment, left leg reaching out long, maybe point through the toes, stretch those arms in the opposite direction. Stay here for 2 breaths. Good, okay. Let's bring that leg back in, collect that right knee, drawing it towards you. Once you're there, if you want, you could try that little tucking or lifting of the head up. Chin is in. Nice, and as we release that, let's do that long stretch again, right leg out this time. Good, and then we can come out of that and let's collect both knees this time, drawing in. Maybe a little bit of space between the knees. And let's take them around in a circle. So both, for me right now, I've got both knees going around the same way. If yours was a little different, it's no big deal. Just taking it around here. And maybe try that other way if you've done it the same as me. Good, okay. Finishing that up. Last little drawing in, and then let those feet come back down. All right, I'd like to transition onto our fronts. So we're rolling over and coming onto our tummies next. I have the arms in front here, crossed and resting my forehead down on the arms. Take a moment to wiggle those hips. I see some of you already doing that. Just give it a little bit of grounding there through the front of the hips and pelvis. Stretch those legs out nice and long. We're going to get some movement going here right away. We're going to be lifting up our right leg, just a small rise up, straight leg, and at the same time letting the head lift up away from the arms. I'm still gazing downwards, so the back of the neck is long. And then let that come down. And then go ahead and lift the other leg, left leg lifting, a little rise up in the upper half, and then lower it down. And let's add the breath to this tonight. So inhale on the lift up, and then a smooth lowering, exhaling down. And just carrying on with that alternating of legs. And just like we did in that first movement pattern where we were matching the breath, make sure that it's not feeling hurried and that the movement is lasting as long as that breath length. See if you can really slow this down. Experience that sense of staying connected to the ground through the hips. The sensation of as you lift that leg, lengthening and reaching back. Your lift height is to that point that feels just right, not straining. Let's do one more each side. Nice, okay, we let that rest. Take a couple breaths, deep and low. Fill into that tummy and back space for a moment. And then we're going to help ourselves out of this front lying position right away. Get those hands underneath and help yourself up. Bringing those knees under you, arriving into that tabletop position. Hands down under the shoulders, and when we come here, then we'll add a cat stretch. So start to tuck the tail under, lift up the back towards the ceiling, chin in, and just give this a little hold. Sometimes I add a little bit of movement, like rocking. Good, and then let that opposite position happen. Cow pose, belly's dropping, chest is moving slightly forward, looking in front. Just a little hang out here for a moment, just really sense that chest dropping as well. Good, and then roll it back up into cat. Find your way into a nice high lift. Really open up those shoulder blades. Really draw that chin in. Good, and then one more down here into that cat stretch, or cow stretch, sorry. Really let the shoulder blades sink in towards one another, belly and ribs dropping. Good, and then let's come back to neutral from there. And we're going to step our left leg off to the side. As you do that, it can be slightly at a back angle. Don't strain for that step. Lean into your right hand and then start to reach open with the left arm. Take a big breath in as you reach it up. Exhale as you start to travel that left arm down. And then we're going to do that threading through on that right side, lowering that shoulder towards the ground. And then inhale, slowly reach it up again. And then exhale down and through. So lots of opportunity to explore your range of motion in this one. Go at your own pace. Make this one not so much about what it's looking like, but how it's feeling. Maybe one more time there on that side. When you've completed it, no hurry at all. We'll just meet up in center position here, tabletop again. And we get an opportunity right away to go to that second side. So we'll step that right leg out. Step the left hand off to the side a bit. And we know what we're doing here. We're inhaling that arm up and exhaling as we bring it down and through. This one really lends to a nice full expression of that breath. This one's great for helping to release the tensions of the day. Good. Nicely done, everyone. Do another one there, finishing it up. And then step that back in. Let's sit it back into our child's pose from there. Bum towards the heels. Widen the knees if you like that. And we'll get low to where it's comfortable. And certainly if it feels like that forehead's going to meet the ground, let that happen. Let the neck rest. Let the head feel a little heavy here. Or support that head in some way, maybe crossed arms. Have a little moment to really give in to the earth here. Sense the weight of the body through the shins, through the head and arms. Just being present to how you're feeling, body and breath. Okay, we're going to begin our shift to come up out of this. And let's take a little quick journey through a few standing positions tonight. So we'll help ourselves up here. Sometimes when you stay low, it feels like you don't want to come all the way up. Okay. First, starting with a little bit of shoulder rolling here. So I've just got that regular natural or neutral stance through my feet. And I'm going to get my arms rolling, kind of like we were doing on the ground, but a more exaggerated way. So rotating the arms so that the shoulders roll forward, and then open, palms turn up and pull back a little. And as you come forward, maybe add a little knee bend and lean, and then breathe it in as you open up here. And then exhale as you roll forward. So we're kind of getting a few areas of the body moving here. Good, let's do that a couple more rolls through. And come together in this open position. Get a sense of feeling connected to the ground through the feet. Inhale and bring those hands up. Bring the palms together. And as you exhale, let's lean it over to one side and stay there. Just for one breath. Come on up through center. And then a little gentle lean the other way. And again, we're here, just holding a breath. Back up with a reach, breathe it in, and exhale, float those arms down, and let's come into a fold with some bent knees. So come down gently, coming down into that lean, letting the head drop if that feels safe. If your feet need to space out more, let that happen. And let's do a little flow with coming into that half lift. I'm just going to turn so you can see. Just hands to around the knee level. You start to straighten the legs and you rise up through the upper half here, lengthening through the spine. Let's breathe in together at this point. And then exhale, bend the knees a bit again and fold and hang down. And we'll try that a few rounds. So inhale, lifting into that flat back position and fold and release. Good. In and out. And just one more time. And fold. And then a nice mindful journey back up. So really feel those feet in the ground, nice flat back. Inhale, let's bring those arms all the way back up. Bring it up. And then let the arms fall to the sides. Exhale them down. Good. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to take my, whichever leg you prefer, doesn't matter, but I've got my right leg stepping back. I'll turn to the side for viewing purposes here. And my right foot is pointing straight ahead, but my heel's pushing down. And my left knee has just a small little bend in it. So it's slightly lunged here, but a real strong focus of like the calf stretch in the back and that heel down. Got my hands on my hips here now. And then holding this position, let your body lean just a little bit forward to that front knee. And take, if you're on the same side as me, hopefully, but it'll be the opposite hand to your front knee. So for me, it's my right hand across to that left knee. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a turn, drawing my left shoulder back, rotating my body towards that left side. It can feel a little wobbly here. We're still trying to push that heel down. And just rotate back to front. And then from there, we're going to come out. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's do that one more here now. Left leg back for me this time, unless you're opposite to me. Bending into that front knee here. Feel this stretch, just working through straightening that back leg and pressing that heel down. And all of this other business it's very subtle. I'm leaning a little bit. I've got my left hand across that front knee there. Right hand's to the hip. And seeing what I can do about rotating my upper body here towards the right. This time the right shoulder draws back. See if you can stay for another breath or two. Good, and we come out real simple. Come back to that feet together position. All right, this is where we'll need our bands. It does really help for these next few moves. So I'm going for a wide hold, and we're going to take the arms up. So this is one where usually if the shoulders or the chest muscles are tight, the wider you go, the easier it is. Because we're going to try to get the hands to come a little bit behind the head. And so if you're not able to do that, maybe see if you can go wider with it and then let that happen. Now, of course, if you have any shoulder injuries, you want to be careful with this. I just had to narrow my band hold here. But just explore that drawing back feeling and opening through the front half of the body. Maybe take the breath into the chest here a little bit. That's it. And we come back through front and simply switch that band behind your back now. And with the placement there, you want to have it around hip distance or shoulder distance apart with your hold. And this is the one where we take it back. Now we want to open up through the chest here again. So lift and rise through the sternum, draw the shoulders back. Notice how you're standing too. Just good connection to ground through the feet, but not locked through the knees. Maybe a gentle look up, opening through the front of the neck. And let the hands relax back down. Take a little moment just to rest, keeping that hold of the band there. Make sure your feet are at least shoulder width apart here. We don't want them too narrow. And we're coming down into a forward fold. And some of you know this one, it's optional. You can add that shoulder stretch where we reach our hands up. Usually as I do this one, I bend my knees and it's like I'm bringing my chest to my thighs. And then I slowly lift the hands up, exploring how much of a lift I can get. Now, if this is bugging you, you can let go of the band and come out of it. If you're letting the shoulders really go into a deep extension here, you want to really let the head drop down, crown of the head directed towards the ground, so that you're not lifting and forcing any strain in your neck. And just please feel free to stay as long as you like. Come up and out when you're ready. Yeah, that's great. I see people just kind of lingering through that one, nice and slow. Okay, the band may or may not be helpful for this one. I have just a simple thigh stretch coming up in standing, so feel free to not make this about balance. Go to a wall if you want. If you are able to get a hold of your ankle, you won't need the band. If you can't quite reach it, that's where this band can be helpful. And once you get a hold of that ankle or your band, this is all about a thigh stretch tonight. So first of all, we want to make sure that that knee is straight down underneath that hip. And for those of you who have really flexible thighs and you're feeling your balance to be strong, you can even grab a hold of that foot and draw it in towards your glute there with both hands. I don't know if you could see what I was doing. I'm strangely quite flexible through my thighs here, so this is one that I feel like I need a little extra. There, that's all we need to do. Just let that release. And when you're ready, we'll get that second leg going into its bend. In addition to how your alignment is with your hip and your knee, also check in with how you're holding your posture through your middle, through the low back. Sometimes when you're really tight through the hip or thigh, your low back will arch more, and maybe just draw that tummy in, be aware of that. Slight pelvic tilt. Again, you could be using one hand, both hands here. There, let's let that release. Good, great job. Okay, coming back down to my mat here. So let's meet up back onto the hands and knees. This one we might want to add our bolster. Roll up that blanket otherwise. And just so you know, you can do it without. So this is upward facing dog with a bit of support underneath the hips. So it's a big back arch. I walk my hands in front of the rolled blanket or bolster. And then I'm going to try to land the hips sort of right at the top of the hip crease, close to the pubic bone there, on top of the rolled up platform you have, or whatever you've got. Hands are falling, hopefully, sort of right underneath that shoulder line. You can keep your knees bent and soft and touch them down to the ground. It tends to be a bit more gentle. Or lift them up and engage those thighs if you prefer. That's it. And so, as I said, you don't need to have something under your hips, but it's a much more active position. This gives it a bit of support. This really opens up through the front body. And there is, like I said, a lot of back arching. So we want to take care that we're meeting it in a spot that feels safe. If you're still with me, maybe another breath or two to hold. Good. Now, if those knees are lifted, let them soften down. Maybe even lean your body a little bit forward and help yourself back really easily. And we're going to come into, well, it's your choice. You could do a child's pose or a downward dog next. So I'm going to go for a downward dog after that one. Hands down to the ground, toes under and slowly lifting. And we'll just kind of work into settling back with the weight shifting more towards those feet. Working those heels down lightly. Nice and long through the length of the spine here. Release through the neck if you can a bit. Maybe shake it out. We're not here too long. Maybe another breath or two again. Just having a little moment to kind of find this opposite position from that last one. There, and that's it. We're just going to slowly ease down. Nice, yeah. And I am reclaiming a sitting position here. You could definitely sit up on a little lift like the folded blanket if you wanted. So what I have for my setting up is this cross-legged position where I've got, maybe we should be together. If everybody puts their right leg in front of their left. So that right leg is actually, in front there. They're not crossed over. Good. Now, we're going to just kind of make sure I'm wiggling through my seat. It feels like it's good to kind of clear the seat back a little bit there. And just get a little lean forward going here. This can be very gentle. Just kind of get into where you start to feel a little bit of a hip stretch. If you don't feel much, you're more than welcome to go further than I'm demonstrating. Now I'm wanting to take this over to one side, and we're going to walk to the side that the front foot's pointing. So it should be for everybody over to the left side. And we're just kind of walking over slowly into that side lean, trying to keep that right hip down, the right side of your seat down. And as we lean into this a bit, some of you might like to try placing that right hand on the right knee and kind of like leaning or sort of extending away from it a bit. Now you want to be careful with that if that felt sensitive in your hip. And if you don't like the hand, giving it a little bit of extra pressure there, just leave that out. Good, okay, now let's lift out, take a moment to bring those legs in. And we're going to do that now with the left leg crossed in front. So take a moment to adjust for that. And we enter in through that lean forward again. That's it. Looks good, you guys. Notice how these sides compare. There's often a difference with which foot is forward or which leg's forward. let's start that little walk over now. So both hands walking over to that right knee there. Just kind of go slow so you don't go too far into it, because again, we want to keep that opposite side of the seat down. And then maybe that hand assists just a hint. Anchors that knee into that downward action. And really, again, stay with feeling that opposite side of the seat, drawing to the ground, and maybe see if you can even feel this into the side of the low back there. Good. Okay, let's begin to lift. Right, and just give those legs a little shake out in front there. Okay, this next one we'll use that band again. Well, maybe some of you don't need the band, but it's nice to just have it nearby so you can try this out. And also, just in preparation for the move that follows, have your bolster somewhere close by in front of you there. I will maybe even go as far as giving myself a little bit of a pillow or headrest too for this one. So I'm lying on my side, and we're going to get this band. I mean, if you've got a proper yoga band, you could, use the little loop at the bottom and put it around. It would be your top leg, okay? But you could just sling it around your foot. So I'm coming low. I've got my just so people can see me, my under knee is a little bit bent. And then I'm going to try to lift this leg up to the side like this. Now, again, some of you could just reach to your foot here. And really what we're looking for is just getting this sort of side angled stretch. And when we're doing this, if it feels a little uncomfortable on the hip that you're lying on, play around with how you rest into it. You might roll back a little bit. Just make sure it's as comfortable as can be. It is nice to have some head support for this one. Okay, so now we're going to take this one into a second move, and this is where maybe that bolster could come in handy if you have, or a cushion or anything. I'm just going to use my foot to bring it up. So if I put it in front of me, I stretch my leg out long here on top of it, still side lying, like that. And you could bring your foot all the way to the floor, but I find a little lift is nice. And then it's the opposite hand, the underside arm, is going to reach to hold on to that band around your foot, if you've got it there still. And then the other arm is free, so your top arm is free to start to reach out to the side. And you can have a little bit of opening feel happening here. And if you need to adjust your headrest lower, go ahead, make sure your neck feels safe. But there's a hint of like chest stretching going on here. You might feel that as you open up that top arm. And some rotation, and I'm just going to check the monitor here just to see how everyone's doing with this one. Oh, that's looking great. Everyone's got that. And another little piece is how high this leg is up towards you. So you can play with that angle. It could be lower. You can keep it more gentle. It doesn't have to be at that 90-degree angle. And one more big full breath, holding here. Good, and then let that retreat out, just a little roll back to the side there. Really good. And let's just go ahead and get this all switched around. So we're lying on our second side now. And we'll get that first one going where we've got the leg stretch. And again, I like that. Personally, I like to have a bend in that underside leg on this one. Whenever we're holding these straps, there's a tendency to really kind of, effort through that arm and bend and use that bicep a lot. See if you can really stretch the arm long and reach to where that final point is, for its full outstretched position as you hold. Okay, we're going to start to let the leg come down and make our way to that second move. The leg on that prop maybe, and it's the underside arm holding onto the band to anchor it. Maybe shift through your upper body so we get that rolling back and that one shoulder kind of flattened a little bit more. Open it up as you feel ready through that twist. Again, play with your leg angle. Make sure everything feels safe in the back. You want to find a place where you get good sensation, but also not so intense that it's taking the breath away or creating any other body parts to tense up. Gentle and easy, just lingering and breathing. Noticing how things might be shifting and opening as you hold. There we go. Let's start to roll it back to the side. Good. And then we'll have little release from that band, and I'm going to come onto my back again, so just moving my props around. When you come on your back, let's bring it back to that knee hug. Bring both the legs in. Give it a little bit of rocking here. Some of you might want to try taking the knees a little bit wider, and it feels like I'm really kind of drawing them towards the sides of my body here. And of course, if you know that happy baby pose, you could certainly do that, where you reach to the ankles or the feet. It's totally optional. But I'm just, wherever you're at, whether you're holding your knees or your feet, you're just adding a little bit of rocking still. Just getting really grounded through that back body. And let that go. Let the feet come down to the ground. Maybe it'll feel nice to stretch out long now. Just sometimes that last one when we bring those hips into a big flexion there. Open it up here. And as I reach those legs out and those arms up overhead, I'm letting my low back lift off the ground. I'm letting a little arch happen there. Open up those spaces. Good, and then just come out of that and do a little moment of checking in here. Notice how you're feeling right now. Is there any other little motions that you could use? Last little finishing things to help get you ready to be settled and come to a place of stillness. For me, it's usually I just want to make sure that I'm not too cold, so you can always just grab that blanket pillow, or maybe you need a little sweater on. But we're getting comfortable here. I'm going to grab my sweater. I definitely want you to feel really, really comfy here. We're going to be here for a little bit of time on our backs, so some of you might like that bolster under your knees. All right, yes, I see most of you getting into that lying position. And I think this is maybe one of the perks to being in Zoom land here with our classes, is that there is a little extra bit of comfort. We can really welcome in those blankets, a little cozy, and no one will know if we drift off. All right, so as you lay back, let's come into eyes closed. And just let your body be received by the earth. With each exhale, get a sense of that lightly sinking back feeling, that grounding, that support from the floor. All the muscles and bones and joints softening, letting go. Whole body settling, relaxing. Checking in and just making sure that that jaw is releasing. Little space between the teeth. The head's feeling a little bit heavy, weighted back. Get a sense now that the whole body, as if it was like made out of caramel, could melt. So a really true softening experience coming over the body, relaxing, melting. Even the skin, the surface of the body is just draping. All the muscles around the face are relaxing, smooth across the forehead, releasing any tension in the scalp. And now bring your attention to the space between your eyebrows. And let your gaze from the inside be directed towards that spot. And doing this in a way that doesn't feel straining in the eyes, still relaxed. And just as you come into this awareness of this space, letting your focus get a little bit blurred, and seeing beyond that space, an open expanse, a black canvas, if you will. And now I'm going to name a number of different things, and just wanting you to envision these things on a level of emotion, memory, and imagination as best as you can. Allow yourself to jump from image to image. Yellow rose. Blue moon. Autumn day. Snow-capped mountains. Grazing horse. Red scarf. Winding river. Dinner with friends. Your reflection in a mirror. ocean waves. A dirt road. Petting an animal. Raindrops and puddles. Street lights. Sun setting. Heroes and helpers. Cottage on the lake. A kind smile. Tropical forest. Warm wind. Smell of eucalyptus. Walking down a path. A deep, dark blue sky. Burning candle. Feeling peace within. Now become aware of your natural and spontaneous breath that moves in and out of your body without any effort. Notice the feeling of the air as it comes in and out at the tip of the nose, at the nostrils. As you breathe in, there's a sense of coolness. And as you breathe out, a hint of warmth on your upper lip. Maintain your awareness of your breath. And at the same time, develop your awareness of your physical body. Your body is relaxed and lying on the floor. Feel the container of your skin and the clothes. Do not open your eyes quite yet, but visualize the surrounding room that you're in. Imagine where you are in the room and the objects that are around you. And lie quietly until you feel ready to move. And when you do, you'll just add a little bit of movement, maybe in the hands and feet. Take your time tonight with this transition. Maybe even allow yourself to roll onto your side for a few moments. As we slowly come out of this class together, we will finish in a seated position. So take your time again. I don't want you to feel hurried, but just know that's where we'll land, just for a closing piece here. All right, it looks like everyone's up. Nice. Sit comfortably. Maybe just check in with those shoulders and the neck for a moment. Let the eyes be closed here. Just want to have a last opportunity to check back in and notice how we're feeling at the end of our class. Compared to how you started your class. What might be feeling different now? How are those tension levels in the body? How's your mind state? Notice the quality of your breath. My hope is that you did notice there's a little bit of improvement, maybe, sense of calmness generated from our class. And we'll close here just bringing our hands together, a little bow. Thank you for your presence. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Namaste.